Hi everyone, welcome to John's vlog. So we're starting this vlog like way before it's actually going to be posted because we're going to look at a rental property and we can't share it until we either pass on it or buy it because we don't want to lose the property. So I don't know where John found this property, but he just picked me up from the house and said we're going to look at it. So why doesn't he tell you where he found it?
So right now, because of COVID, it's really hard to find properties. The market is really on fire, and that means it's low inventory. Everybody's buying up everything, but also auctions have paused or closed down completely. So it's hard to find properties that way. So I've resorted to on-market properties. You can still find a deal that way. It's just a little bit harder. So I found these four just searching through Zillow, and I'm hoping it's a good deal. Remember, the price listed is the asking price. It's always key to remember when shopping for real estate. And I've crunched the numbers, and it's an okay deal at what they're asking, depending on the quality and the condition of the units. But I've done numbers on a little bit cheaper on what I'd be willing to offer after we check them out, and these could work for us. We're trying to add 4 more units, whether that's 2 duplexes, 4 single-family homes, or a quadplex to our portfolio before the end of the year. I think a goal for us is to add 4 to 8 units every single year.
Yes, and I would rather not do 4 single families. I don't think John would like to either, because that's like a lot harder to manage, I feel like, because they're all over the place, and it's like just less efficient as an apartment building. But so we're looking at a 4-unit apartment building right now?
Correct.
Okay, so this would be ideal, and I'm excited to see it. We'll take you guys along, and we'll tell you more about the numbers at the end. Hopefully at the end of this video, when this process is over, we own the building. We're pulling in right now, waving to the realtor, and I'm going to tell you my first impressions. Is that it? Before we show you.
Yes.
It actually looks really good. First impressions. Looks really good. It looks like it's been well taken care of. So we're going to go out there and see. What do you think? First impressions before you get out.
So far, I didn't like the driveway on the way in, but I think that can be fixed. But other than that, the unit itself does look taken care of from the outside, but it could just be a facade.
Okay, let's go see.
Donnie was your apartment two's air conditioner
Okay.
conked out on her.
Gotcha.
So he's going to, here's the sign, he's going to put
There it is.
All right, so we just got done touring in this unit. It's a 4-plex, as you can see. We could not film inside as it's fully rented.
I tried to film inside and I was shut down real quick, so I didn't know that rule.
Yeah, she warned you right away. So anyway, the realtor said we're not allowed to film inside. I already knew that rule. Apparently my wife did not. But anyway, they're actually all in really good condition. The 3, so the top left and the bottom 2 are already updated. I mean, they're not fancy, but they're updated, they're up to date, and they don't look like they're from the 70s. Now, the top right one does have like shag carpet, older cabinets, and older like bathroom fixtures, so it will need updated. But they said that he's a trucker and he's hardly ever in town. He only pays like $430 a month in rent though, which is a little bit low for this area. You know, I'm not someone to go in and buy a unit and jack their rents up, but we do need to be fair about this. So he's probably about $50 to $100 under what market is. But anyway, outside of that, the roof will need to be updated. Can you see the roof? So as you can see, it will need a new roof. I budgeted for about $5,000 on that. Shouldn't be $5,000, but I want to be conservative with my numbers. Now for HVAC, it has wall units. It has 4 of those, and that one unit has to heat or cool the entire unit. I asked the tenant how well it does. They said it does pretty good, so I'm going to take his word for it. They're putting a brand new one in the bottom right unit next week or this week?
This week.
This week, so that's an expense that I don't have to cover. But if that one's going out, I need to go ahead and figure that the other 3 might be old as well and need to replace those soon. So we're just going to crunch numbers on this and see if it works for us. The lighting is terrible.
I know, it's so bright. So it's really bright out. Let me give you my take really fast. So the tenants seem to be really reliable because she said that they've all been living there for a long time. They haven't had any problems with rent or anything, and the ones that we went in were really nice and their units were super clean. So that's my take. Also, this building looks pretty good, and the front yard is fenced for doggies and kitties and like whatever animals they want to have because we are animal friendly.
Oh, we can live here. Then we can live here.
No, I'm sorry, but it is nice. And look, it has a pretty nice view up there.
What? What's the nice view?
It's a mountain. Okay, let me turn the AC down so you guys can hear us. So the road's really loud, please ignore that. But the neighborhood was pretty good, especially for the area. And it's a little bit outside of town for our liking. It's like 10 minutes outside of Charleston, but that's not bad for people who don't want to live in the city. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think overall it's an okay area. I know this area. We don't like to flip in this area, but that does not mean it's not a good rental area. So please keep that in mind. Where you want to flip houses is not necessarily where you want to rent houses, and vice versa. Different areas are good for different things and different strategies, and this is a good rental area. Again, it's 10 minutes outside of Charleston. It has parking, a lot of things that Charleston doesn't have, cheap rent. So those will keep our building occupied over the lifespan of us owning it, if that's not forever. So overall, I give it a grade of a B- or a C+.
Oh, I thought you were going to grade it 1 through 10, and I was going to say 6.
You're gonna say 6?
Yeah.
Well, on 1 to 10, I'd give it a 6 or a 7.
We'll keep you updated. We're not going to do the numbers until the end of this video, so we can like sit down and really go through everything. We are not the proud new owners of a fourplex.
Yeah, that one's probably not going to work out. Although we did put an offer in, the numbers just did not fit with what we're looking for and what we want inside of our portfolio. So with that being said, I'm going to go over the numbers real quick. We'll talk about all those, why it doesn't fit, and what our offer was. And if that gets accepted, then we'll move on to the next steps.
He said that his bottom dollar was above what we offered, but we just went ahead and made an offer anyway because you never know.
Right, and I even prefaced that in the email back to the realtor. I said, look, I know you've already said that he won't take any less than this, the seller, so we won't even make an offer at this time. I said that kind of in a strategy because if you go ahead and lowball them out of the gate, they may take offense to it. But when you do it this way, they gave you permission to give them a lower offer. So she did, in fact, email back and said, hey, he will take your other offer, whatever that is. So now he's giving me permission to do it. It doesn't look like I just came at him with a lowball offer.
And one other good thing that John did in the email was he talked about what he was offering and why he was offering that and broke down all the numbers for the seller so that it didn't just seem like he was making up a random number that was lower than what the seller wanted. So I felt like that was really smart.
Yeah, so you just want to kind of keep a good relationship with these realtors. I have a realtor, it's my partner's wife, but she is currently out of town. She has a sick family member, so we actually had to go with the seller's realtor to show us the property. They were nice enough to do that, and you want to keep them happy, because if you just go in there making lowball offers and being short in emails and disrespecting their time, not showing up, they won't continue to show you properties, and not only that, but they won't keep you on their short list when new properties come available. So keeping good relationships with all realtors is a must, and a bird just flew right on our window. Do you see that?
Oh, it's a dove. Oh.
That's crazy. Hold on.
Oh, he's gone. He was so cute. He had little like gray feathers and little blue eyes.
I thought he ran into the window for a second.
No, he was just hanging out.
All right, so anyway, do you want to go over the numbers real quick?
Yeah, I'm going to let him go over the numbers real quick because that's really his thing and I don't really know the numbers. He just does them all and then explains them to me and then we talk about things.
Yeah, she just collects the money.
Yeah,
like, that's
basically, that's what I do.
Okay, so start this off. Keep in mind they were asking $173,000 for the property. That's the base number we're going to go with here. We're not going to go with what my offer was. And I didn't put any closing costs or anything in that. Of course, we would negotiate this down somewhat, even if we went around his full price offer. But we'll just call it $173,000, and then the rest of the numbers will base off that.
We have the numbers written right here if you wonder what we're looking at.
So we already established that it needs a roof. That's going to cost around $5,000. Again, I did not even put that in the basis. I'm just keeping it in our mind for things that we're going to have to pay for once we acquire the building. After that, the top right unit is also not updated. I think I said that earlier in the video. The other 3 units are good to go. The top right one's good to go as well for the short term. But as soon as that tenant moves out, we would probably need to update that unit.
Yes,
it's
definitely.
carpet, old flooring, stuff like that. So I put another $5,000 just for updating that unit.
Green shag carpet.
Yes, it wasn't nice. I'm literally just going to read the numbers right off the phone because there's no way I would remember all of these for the video. So the rental income after covering utilities would be $19.29 a month in. Now, when I say covering utilities, 2 of the units are HUD, and so you have to include the utilities in their rent. And so I have subtracted off what the average was off the last 3 months of water, electric, and sewage, and that brought us down to $19.29 of income after all that was paid. And then you have lawn care. I put $100 a month. That's a little bit high, but that's what they're currently paying the person that's doing it now. So maybe we just leave them in there. So I went ahead and went with $100 a month. Outside light, it has an outside light that's attached to the phone pole. That's $10 a month. I still added in here. Every dollar counts. Insurance is $160 a month. It was in the flood zone. That means you're going to have to pay additional insurance or more expensive insurance. Taxes are $200 a month. Again, that's probably a little bit high. I don't think they'd be $2,400 a year. Probably more like $1,600 to $1,800. But again, playing it conservative there. Capital expenditure, I put in about $200 a month or $50 a door. And then vacancy, I put in another $50 a month. The vacancy shouldn't be high there. It's just a 4 unit, could probably fill it quickly, but I want to have something to account for that. Property manager is going to cost you about 8% a month on your total income that they collect. So I put $150 a month for that as well. We don't use a property manager yet, but we said we'd probably stop after these first 4 units. And so this would be those. This would be another 4 units on top of that. And so we would probably start going with a property manager. So I went ahead and accounted for that. The next is what we have to calculate as a mortgage. While we don't carry mortgages currently on our investment properties, we want to eventually. That way we can pull that money out and start investing on more. So I had to calculate a mortgage on this property. I went ahead and did that on $140,000 because what that means is we put the 20% down at the $173,000 asking price, which brings us to $140,000. I did it on 20 years. We probably more go with 15 years, but I'll just do 20 years to try to make this deal work, as I already knew it was getting a little bit tight. We wouldn't be the end of the world for us if we had to choose a 20 year over 15. We just don't want to go anything higher than a 20.
No.
15 is preferable.
We want to have everything paid off and all of our passive income flowing ASAP.
Exactly. And not only that, but we want to save the interest on those 30-year mortgages because they're crazy. So the mortgage on $140,000 at 20 years is about $900 a month. So with all that being said, after you subtract all those expenses that I've mentioned and you take it off of that $1,929 a month income, you're only left with $159 a month in cash flow. And we really want to be around, it's kind of an arbitrary number, we understand that, but we kind of want to be around $100 to $150 a door, no less. Really preferably $150 to $200. Now, where we got ourselves into a little bit of bind here is we got such a great deal on our first property. So we are a little bit biased and we're comparing everything to that deal, which is not fair. We're probably not going to find deals like that often, so we probably do need to lower our expectations a little bit when looking for better deals.
And I feel like if we get something that's like not a good enough deal, not enough dollars per door, well, it's not really, I feel like this is a fact, but if something goes wrong, you're going to be in the negative pretty fast. If you need to replace a heat pump, if you need to replace like a water tank, anything like that, your money's just going to go down. And if you only have $150 to mess with, then you're really kind of on the thin line there.
And also, I do kind of go against myself sometimes when I say this. A dollar amount per door is not something we need right now because we're not living off any of this cash flow. But it's nice to have that in 5 or 10 years before the mortgage is paid off to be able to live off that. But I understand that if you're only making $50 or $100 a door and you have reserves elsewhere to pay for anything that goes wrong, that the unit itself is getting paid for and it's building equity. And as long as that asset is paid off in 15 to 20 years with somebody else's money, it could still be a great investment even if you aren't cash flowing much. So I do preach that sometimes, but for our goals right now, we're just looking for really, really good deals and we think we'll find them. We'll just be patient until we do. We're not trying to build 40, 50 units into our portfolio every single year. We're trying to grow at a modest 4 to 8 to maybe 12 if we get lucky units per year, so that in 10 or 15 years we should have plenty of units, enough units to withstand our lifestyle and for the income that we're planning for.
Yes, we're like more interested in quality over quantity. So we'd rather find 4 good units in a year that are a great deal than find like 20 okay or crappy units that were cash flowing the same amount as the 4 basically. And we're probably gonna wrap this video up because we've been talking for a little while and the reason I haven't been talking so much is just because this is really like John's area, so I just agree with everything he said basically and I understand what he's saying, but that's why I wasn't really contributing as much as I normally do.
Don't sell yourself short. She understands a lot of this. She just rely on me for it because it's what I love to do, what I'm passionate about, and it is my area of expertise in our relationship. You definitely don't want me incubating you.
Yeah, definitely not.
Well, I hope this video helped you guys. It was a little bit informational, a little bit entertaining. Thank you, babe, for coming along with me and as always being on this journey with me. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
See you later.